The key to avoiding distraction is developing mental stamina, and this takes time and effort. And to do so effectively, there's some key things to understand about the mind. The first thing to understand is that your mind naturally avoids resistance. Unfortunately, however, many things we want in life aren't achieved without resistance. So your mind avoids resistance, but what exactly do I mean by this? So do you ever notice that sometimes when you have to focus for an extended period of time, all of a sudden, topics that are completely unrelated begin to rush into your consciousness, tempting you that they are important all of a sudden and must be dealt with right now. For instance, you may think that a text message from a week ago that you never get around to needs a response at this moment. This is entirely bogus. It's simply a trick that your mind plays on itself in an attempt to escape what it perceives to be as an unpleasant situation. And it's logical. Our minds, our bodies are evolved to survive, to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Therefore, these micro distractions that your mind throws at you are simply another form of doing so. It's best to recognize them for what they are and let them pass. See, there's a disconnect between who you think you are and who you actually are. On one hand, you may want to work hard and live up to the ambitions that you've set for yourself. And this is largely where your consciousness lies. However, there's a whole other side of you with a whole different set of desires, most of which are short-term comforts, of course. But this side of you is equally as influential in the actions of your person. You can think of it this way. You're both in the car, right? One in the passenger seat and one in the driver's seat. However, both of you have steering wheels and have some control of the car, which is you, the overall product. The mistake we make is that we often confuse the thinking self for you as a whole. So let's talk about how we can best navigate the landscape of our mind. Firstly, the ability to focus is like the strength of a muscle. Maintaining deep focus is difficult, especially when a topic of focus is inherently challenging. For instance, if you were instructed to focus on watching your favorite TV show, as opposed to focus on reading a chapter from a chemistry textbook, you will likely find a prior much easier. Maintaining focus on a difficult topic for hours is especially hard if you are not trained to do so. It's like having a bench press 250 pounds when you've never stepped foot in the gym. The only way to develop this ability is to do it more frequently. The second thing to understand is that the ability to control your mind weakens when you're tired and especially when you're distracted. This term in psychology is known as ego depletion, and it's the idea that you have a finite amount of willpower. So after a long day, you're least capable of doing deep work. Similarly, when you're distracted, you're less primed for intense focus. Say you check your email and then your text messages. Even when you return back to work, your subconscious mind is still sorting through all that and is less able to commit fully to the work at hand. The last piece to understand, but maybe the most important, is that behavior is shaped and reinforced by the actions you perform and habits you develop. So even when you're not studying or focusing on one single task, if you get uncomfortable every time you encounter a bit of boredom, right, and you have to go scrolling through Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, whatever, you're shaping your behavior. That escape from resistance mentality is getting further reinforced. So just to wrap things up, when we get advice about how to best focus, how to be the most productive, we hear things like put your phone away, clear your workspace, and these are valid tips. You know, they might actually help. However, even after doing all these things, you might find yourself still unable to focus. It's important on a basic level to understand how your mind works so you can more effectively shape your own behavior and lead a fulfilling life.